7 days. That's how long the village searched for them.
We just went to fetch water.
Fetch water! You've been missing 7 days.
By then, 2 of her closest friends were already gone. Nobody has ever explained what really happened at that river.
But I promise you 5, the ending isn't what you think. Stay till the end.
Did you see that move in the bush? Yes, but we must stay focused on the path.
He said the fishing net was broken, but I saw him sleeping under the mango tree. He just did not want to come yet. Oh, Adaeze, you are always so dramatic.
Look, the Oyi-Miri. We found it.
It is too still, Adaeze. I do not like this.
Why is it so dark?
We shouldn't be here, Adaeze. The river is dangerous.
Are you afraid of water, Miriam?
I thought you were brave.
Trust me, Inkeme. This is our chance. I don't know. It is too risky.
In a small village where everyone knew everyone, 3 girls grew up inseparable. Adaeze, Inkeme, and Miriam. Friends since before they could properly walk. The kind of friends who finished each other's sentences and shared secrets nobody else was allowed to hear. On an ordinary morning, their mothers sent them out with clay pots balanced on their heads, headed for the village stream. A routine errand, the kind they'd done 1,000 times before. But Adaeze was tired of ordinary. "The same stream, every single day," she muttered, kicking a stone off the path. "This village doesn't know how to do anything new." Inkeme laughed. "It's water, Adaeze, not an adventure." "Then let's make it one." Adaeze's eyes lit up with an idea she'd clearly been sitting on for a while. "Let's go to Oyi-Miri." The other 2 went silent, because everyone in that village, every child, every elder, every mother with a warning to give, knew about Oyi-Miri, the forbidden river. Here's the strange part. Nobody could tell you exactly what happened at Oyi-Miri. Not one story matched another. Some said people who wandered there carelessly didn't come back the same. Some said the river kept things, swallowed them, held on to them. And some said in hushed voices that it wasn't every hand that could touch what lived near that water and walk away in peace. "I'm not going," Miriam said flatly. "You're scared of old women's stories," Adaeze teased. "It's not just stories. My own mother warned me." "Our mothers warn us about everything," Adaeze shot back. "Roads, rivers, trees, even shadows. Are we supposed to be afraid of the whole world?" She had a point. And that's the exact moment curiosity started doing what it always does, quietly making danger sound reasonable. "We'll look, maybe fetch water. Then leave," Adaeze pressed. "It's not like we're staying the night." Miriam looked at her 2 friends, one bold, one curious, and made a decision so many people make right before disaster. She didn't want to be the one left behind. She agreed, and with that, 3 girls stepped off the safe path onto one no one in the village dared to walk. The path changed almost immediately, narrower, quieter. The bush thickened around them until sound itself seemed to thin out. No more village noise, just leaves, distant birdsong, and their own footsteps. Even their voices dropped without them meaning to. Then they reached it. And here's the part that confused all 3 of them. It was beautiful. No jagged rocks. No ominous fog. Just a wide, still river, dark and calm, ringed by tall trees standing like silent witnesses. The kind of place that looked like it had been left alone on purpose. Not because it was ugly, but because something about it demanded distance. For a moment, nobody moved. Nothing happened. No sound, no warning, nothing to justify 7 years of village whispers. So the fear, as fear does when nothing confirms it, began to melt. Adaeze laughed first. This is what everyone's so afraid of. Inkeme relaxed, scanning the water. It doesn't look bad at all. Only Miriam stayed quiet. Something sat wrong in her chest. Not fear she could name, just a low hum of don't. But standing alone at the edge while her friends waded in felt worse than joining them. So she followed. They dropped their pots, waded in, splashed each other, laughed, forgot entirely why they'd come. For a few golden minutes it was just three friends being young. Then Inkeme froze mid-laugh. "Wait," she said. "Look." Half buried near the tree roots at the water's edge sat a leather bag. Old-looking, heavy, like it had been waiting. Miriam's stomach dropped instantly. "Leave it." Adaeze was already pulling it free. "It's heavy," she said, eyes widening. "Open it," Inkeme urged. "We should leave it," Miriam repeated, but nobody was listening anymore. Adaeze pulled the bag open, and every single one of them went silent. Inside, bundles of money, not pocket change, not a child's secret savings, real money, more than any of them had ever seen in their lives. Tucked among the bundles, a folded set of men's clothing. Nobody spoke for a long moment. Then Adaeze whispered the sentence that would end up costing 2 lives. "This can change everything." Miriam found her voice first. "This isn't right." "What's not right about money?" Adaeze snapped. "It's not ours." Silence. Then Inkeme quietly. "Then whose is it?" Nobody answered. Because nobody could. Miriam pushed for the only sensible option. Take it to the village elders. Adaeze shut that down instantly. "They'll take everything and punish us for even being here." Quiet one added the line that sealed it. "If we tell anyone, we have to explain how we found it." That was the real trap. Not the money, the silence the money demanded. Miriam still refused to touch it. But Adaeze had already decided this was their one shot at a different life. "Opportunities like this," she said, "don't knock twice. Only fools throw away a blessing out of fear." None of them noticed it yet. But what they were carrying out of that river wasn't money. It was the exact thing each of their hearts had been quietly starving for. The walk back felt nothing like the walk there. No laughter now, just 3 girls lost in 3 different daydreams. For Adaeze, the money meant escaping poverty for good. For Inkeme, comfort, a future. For Miriam, only dread, thick and growing. "We should divide it," Adaeze said. Inkeme nodded immediately. "Can we not just return it?" Miriam tried one last time. The look the other 2 gave her answered before either spoke. They hid in the bush, set the pots down, and opened the bag again. This time the money felt heavier, more real, more dangerous. The plan was simple. 3 girls, 3 equal shares. It fell apart the moment they started counting. "Count properly," Inkeme snapped. "I am." "You're rushing." "Are you accusing me of cheating you?" Miriam tried to calm them. "Let's count together." And for a moment it worked. Slower, careful. But something had already crept into the space between them. Suspicion. Every bundle suddenly looked uneven. Every pile looked short. When they finally split it, 2 shares sat heavy and undeniable in front of them. And it still wasn't enough. "Mine's smaller," Adaeze said. "It's not. They're equal," Inkeme insisted. "If I hadn't suggested we come here, none of us would have found this." "That doesn't mean you deserve more. I was the one brave enough to touch it." Inkeme held her stare. "No, you're just greedy." The word landed like a slap. "Say that again," Adaeze warned. "Please, stop both of you," Miriam begged. It didn't become a full fight. Not yet. But something had shifted permanently, rising like bread left too long in the oven. Further down the path, Inkeme noticed something bulging strangely from Adaeze's wrapper. "What's that?" "Nothing." "Open it." "No." Then a bundle slipped free and hit the dirt. "You thief!" Inkeme hissed. "You took more." What followed wasn't an argument anymore. It was a fight. Pushing, shouting, grabbing. In the chaos, Adaeze swung a stick and caught Inkeme across the arm. Inkeme cried out. For one breath, everything stopped. Then it kept going. Deeper. "Please, leave the money!" Miriam screamed. Nobody listened. Greed had already taken the wheel. Fairness, trust, even fear itself, none of it was strong enough to pull them back. Near the edge of the village, Adaeze stopped walking. "We can't bring this in like this. If anyone sees it, we're finished." They found an old, forgotten hunter's shed nearby, dry, cracked, half collapsed. They pried up loose floor planks and buried the bag beneath them. Then they sat, silent, trusting no one. As night gathered outside, something else was gathering too. By nightfall, exhaustion and hunger sat heavy on all three girls, but none of them would leave the money behind. Adaeze stood first. "I'm taking my share. I'm leaving." Inkeme shot up instantly. "Not without me watching." Miriam begged them both to just walk away. Adaeze refused. This was her way out of poverty, and she wasn't letting it go. Inkeme echoed her. The truth was undeniable now. Whatever had bonded these three girls their whole lives, it was gone. Adaeze knelt and pried the floorboards open again. The second the bag appeared, Inkeme lunged. Adaeze grabbed it back. Miriam threw herself between them, trying to stop it, and all three collided at once inside the cramped shed. The old lantern toppled, shattered. A small flame caught the dry wood. At the exact same moment, the bag slipped from their hands and dropped straight into the open hole beneath the floor. Everyone froze. Then Adaeze jumped in after it. Inkeme followed immediately. "Leave it!" Miriam screamed. They didn't. Below the floor, in the dark, the two girls scrambled for scattered bundles, while the fire spread above them. Smoke thickened, the heat climbed, the roof groaned. "Come out, now!" Miriam shrieked. But the deeper they reached for the money, the harder it became to climb back out. Miriam staggered backward, looked into the hole one final time, and saw only flame. She turned and ran. Behind her the wood cracked, dust fell, the roof gave way. Just like that, Adaeze and Inkeme were gone. Miriam ran the entire way back to the village, sobbing, shaking apart at the seams. But when she stumbled into the village center, the reaction on every face stopped her cold. Nobody looked relieved to see her. They looked shocked. A man gripped her shoulders. "Where have you been?" We just went to fetch water." "Fetch water?" His voice cracked. "You have been missing for 7 days." When the men followed Miriam back to the burnt shed, what they found silenced even the village's oldest hunters. The bodies of Adaeze and Inkeme were there, burned, but not burned like something that had happened that same evening. The fire looked old, days old. And their bodies weren't even where they should have been, not down in the hole where they'd fallen, but lying just inside the hut itself. Miriam stared, unable to make sense of it. How did they get out? Then she remembered. "The bag," she said suddenly. "Find the bag. The money must still be down there." The men searched the hole, the floor, every corner of that shed. "There's nothing here," one of them finally said. "What money?" "This money," Miriam insisted, pointing. "This is what we found at Oyi-Miri. This is what destroyed my friends." She dropped to her knees, sobbing, repeating herself, until she looked down at her own hands and stopped mid-sentence. They were empty. "This bag," she whispered, holding up nothing at all. "This bag." The villagers around her exchanged looks. What bag? That was the moment it became horribly clear. There had never been any money, not a single coin, not one bundle. Everything they'd seen, everything they'd fought over, bled for, hidden, and ultimately died for, had never physically existed. Miriam lived, but she was never the same person again. For the rest of her life, she carried that week like a stone in her chest, and every time she told this story, she ended it the same way. Oyi-Miri means cold water, but the elders always said it was never an ordinary river, that it existed long before the village itself, and that it had a way of looking straight into whoever stood at its edge. Not everyone saw the same thing there. Some saw what they feared most, some saw what they'd already lost, and some, like these 3 girls, saw exactly what they secretly wanted more than anything else. The river never placed anything in front of them. It pulled something out of them, something that felt real enough to hold, real enough to fight over, real enough in the end to kill for. They didn't find money that day. They found the exact shape of their own hearts, and once greed took hold, none of them could tell the difference between what was real and what their own desire had built for them. In the end, the river didn't destroy those girls. It only showed them what was already sitting inside. So here's the question I want you to sit with. Was it the river that ended them, or was it simply their own greed wearing the river's face? Drop your answer below. And if this one got under your skin, hit like, subscribe, and send it to someone who needs the reminder. Not everything that looks like an opportunity is actually one. Only patience and honest work ever truly hold. I'll see you in the next story.